Stop for a second and really hear this. What if the reason nothing seems to move is not because you are doing too little, but because you are doing too much? What if the door does not open when you push harder, but when you finally let your hand come off the handle? Stay with me, because this can change the way you see everything. Close your eyes for a moment, not to force a picture, not to repeat a method, not to perform. Just close them and breathe slowly like there is nowhere else you need to be. Feel your body resting where it is. Feel your breath moving in and out without your command. Notice how your heart keeps beating, your blood keeps moving, your life keeps flowing without effort, without panic, without your control. The deepest parts of you are already being carried, and they always have been. So here is the question that matters. If the power that keeps you alive works through ease, why have you believed your desires must come through strain? Why do you think peace can grow a body, heal a cut, move the stars, and still somehow cannot handle your future, your money, your love, your next step? Watch closely, because what comes next may turn everything around. Maybe the issue is not that life is not listening. Maybe it is that worry has become your loudest prayer, and you have called that effort instead of fear. Most people have been taught that getting what they want is a battle. Push harder, try longer, prove yourself, earn it. Chase it until your hands shake and your mind burns out. They think desire is released only after enough struggle, like life is some strict gatekeeper watching how hard they work before giving them anything good. So they grip, they force their routines, they repeat words with tension in their chest, they try to believe with a clenched jaw, they act grateful while secretly terrified it is not enough. And then they wonder why everything feels heavy, delayed, and just out of reach. They wonder why the more they chase, the more drained they feel. Here is why. Anxiety is not neutral. Striving is not empty. The energy behind what you do is saying something all the time. When you reach from panic, when you repeat from fear, when you push because you think nothing is happening, the message under all of it is simple. It is not here yet. It is still missing. I still do not have it. And life responds to what you deeply accept, not to the show you put on at the surface. This is the part people miss. The outer action may say, I believe, but the inner state may be shouting, I am afraid. And the inner state is what leads. Let that sink in, because if you understand this, you stop fighting shadows and start changing the source. The real alternative is not laziness, and it is not pretending not to care. It is something stronger than force and more demanding than effort. It is deep relaxation, not the relaxation of giving up, but the calm of someone who knows. There is a special stillness in a person who truly knows something is real. Think about someone carrying a life inside them before the world can see it. Outwardly, there may be no proof yet, nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, but inwardly, there is certainty. They do not spend every night asking if it is really happening. They do not need signs every hour. They do not beg the process to continue. They know. And because they know, they move differently. Their peace is not based on visible evidence. Their confidence is not waiting for permission from the outside world. That is the state being pointed to here. Not trying to feel powerful, not trying to stay positive every second, not acting like you never have doubt. Just this simple inner fact. It is done, not maybe, not one day, not after more pressure, more methods, more stress. Done now, in the unseen first. And from that inner completion, the outer world begins its slow and exact rearrangement. This is where many people click away too early, and that would be a mistake, because the next part explains why ease feels so strange when it should feel natural. You were trained to distrust ease. From early on, most people hear the same message in different forms. If it matters, it must be hard. If it comes quickly, question it. If it feels natural, it probably is not valuable. Struggle is praised so often that peace starts to look suspicious. So when you hear relax, let go, stop pushing, something inside rises up in defense. It says, if I stop forcing, everything will collapse. If I stop worrying, I will become careless. If I stop pressing, nothing will happen. But look closer at that belief. What is it really saying? It is saying that your fear is more dependable than life itself, that your tension is doing the real work, that if you are not mentally holding the whole world together, the world will forget you. That belief gives enormous power to doubt. It places anxiety on the throne and calls it responsibility. But the trap is deeper than that. The belief that struggle is necessary is often the very thing making life feel hard. Because when you assume love is hard, money is hard, change is hard, healing is hard, progress is hard, then your whole system begins to move in harmony with that idea. You notice resistance faster, you expect delay, you brace for disappointment, you keep confirming the story you fear. Listen carefully. Life often mirrors your strongest inner pattern, long before it reflects your spoken wish. And if your strongest pattern is pressure, then pressure keeps meeting you at the door. When you truly relax into the feeling that what you want is already settled, the first thing that changes is your inner conversation. Most people live with a hidden voice that sounds like a constant emergency. What if this fails? What if I miss my chance? What if I do not deserve it? What if I am too late? What if I am doing all of this wrong? That loop runs all day under the surface, stealing energy, shaping mood, tightening the body. But when you accept inwardly that the desire is already complete, in the deeper sense, the whole tone begins to change. The mind quiets, not because you forced it into silence, but because the old questions lose their fuel. A fear-based question cannot survive without the idea of lack underneath it. Remove the lack and the panic has nowhere solid to stand. Then something beautiful happens. Silence does not feel empty anymore. It feels full, rich, alive. Like a room before sunrise, like the air right before rain. There is a weightless certainty in it. You stop checking every hour. You stop arguing with the future. You stop rehearsing disaster as if that will protect you. And this is important, so do not miss it. You are not becoming passive. You're becoming internally organized. Your energy is no longer leaking through 10,000 doubts. It gathers, it deepens, it steadies. And from that steadiness, a different kind of power begins to show up in your words, your walk, your choices, even in the way you wait. Then the body begins to tell the truth before the mouth does. Anxiety always leaves fingerprints: tight chest, hard jaw, fast thoughts, shallow breath, restless hands, eyes that keep searching the room as if danger is about to appear. The body of lack always looks like it is bracing, but the body of inner certainty feels different. The breath naturally slows, the shoulders loosen, the face softens, the stomach is not in a knot all day. You become more present, not less, more awake, not more distant. People notice this change even if they cannot explain it. There is something quietly magnetic about a person who is no longer begging life to approve them. Not loud confidence, not fake high energy, just grounded peace. And from that peace, the outer shifts begin, sometimes gently, sometimes in ways that feel almost unbelievable. A message arrives from nowhere. A chance meeting opens a new path. The right idea appears when you stop chasing it. A blocked situation loosens the moment you stop pressing against it. The bridge forms step by step, often in ways you could not have planned. This is why the next part matters so much. Because many people hear all this and say, "So what, I just sit and do nothing?" No, that is not the invitation. The invitation is to stop acting from fear and start moving from inner completion. That is a very different life, and it creates very different results. Yes, you still have things to do. You still answer calls, make choices, show up, speak, write, learn, leave, begin again. But action born from fear feels completely different from action born from quiet knowing. Fear-based action is heavy. It feels like dragging a broken cart uphill. Every step is loaded with pressure. Every move carries the secret demand that this better work or everything falls apart. That kind of action drains you, and even when it gets results, those results often need more strain to hold them together. But action from inner completion feels natural, clean, timely. It does not feel lazy. It feels aligned. You call because it makes sense, not because panic is screaming. You send the message because it feels right, not because you are trying to control the outcome. You go somewhere because you are led there from within, not because you are terrified of missing your shot. And strangely, those simple actions often create results far bigger than the effort they required. Why? Because they are not powered by force. They are carried by a stable inner assumption. This is the difference between pushing a river and flowing with it. One exhausts you, the other carries you. And if you are still watching, this is where the script gets sharper, because there is a reason people ruin the process even after they finally plant the right seed. They keep digging in the soil to check if something is happening, and that habit destroys more progress than almost anything else. Think of a farmer. Once the seed is planted in good soil, the farmer does not wake up every morning, dig into the earth and ask for proof. He does not tear the ground open because he feels impatient. He does not accuse the field of failure on the second day. He plants, he waters, he trusts the process he understands. Growth is not produced by his worry. It happens because life knows what to do when the conditions are right. Your accepted inner state is the seed. Your awareness is the soil. The unseen law of growth is what brings the harvest. Your role is not to force the sprout out of the ground. Your role is to stop disturbing the soil with fear. Stop asking for signs every hour. Stop measuring invisible progress with visible impatience. Stop turning one small delay into a giant story about why it is not working. The deepest growth is often silent at first. Roots form before fruit. Foundation settles before walls rise. And if you interrupt the process again and again with doubt, it is like pulling the seed out just to see if it is alive. Here is a line worth holding on to. Trust is not doing nothing. Trust is refusing to destroy what you have already chosen inwardly. Keep watering the seed with calm expectation. Keep warming it with steady faith. Keep walking through your day like a person whose harvest is not in question, because the one who keeps peace in the unseen is usually the one who later meets proof in the visible. But let us be honest, because this is where the real test comes. There will be moments when your senses show you the exact opposite of what you have accepted inside. The bill arrives. The message does not come. The door seems shut. The body feels slow. The circumstance looks unchanged. And in that moment, an old voice will rise quickly. It will say, "See, you were foolish. See, nothing changed. See, this is reality." That is the turning point. You can react the old way. You can let appearances decide what you believe. You can drop back into fear, into checking, into overthinking, into desperate effort because at least panic feels like movement. Or you can do something quieter and much stronger. You can look at the moment and say, "This is old news. This is yesterday's echo. This is not the final word. I see it, but I will not let it define my inner state." Then you return, gently, not with force, not with fake smiles, not with pressure to be perfect. You just return the way you would bring your eyes back into focus after a blur. "Oh, I drifted. Here is my center again. Here is the state again. Here is the peace again." Each time you do that, something changes in you. You teach yourself that your inner knowing matters more than the current noise. You stop being trained by fear. You become rooted, and once that root is strong, outer storms lose their power to shake your whole world. After enough returns, a new steadiness begins to form. This is not dramatic, it is not loud, it does not always look impressive from the outside, but it is powerful. The things that used to throw you off for hours begin to lose their grip in minutes. The delays that once sent you into panic now pass through without owning your day. The old urge to chase, force, explain, prove, and rescue every outcome starts to fade. You do not become cold, you become settled. You do not stop caring, you stop collapsing. There is a big difference. This is what real mastery looks like. Not a perfect person who never feels doubt, but a steady person who no longer worships it, a person who does not need applause from the outside world every 5 minutes to remain inwardly whole. There is a kind of holy rest that follows inner completion, a state where the work that mattered has already been done within, and now the right response is rest, trust, and quiet expectancy. When the inner decision is made, you do not need to keep remaking it every hour. You rest in it, you let it breathe, you let it deepen roots. You stop trying to improve what is already complete in essence. This resting state is deeply misunderstood because people think rest means weakness. But true rest is the power of a person who is no longer divided against themselves. And if you can live there, even for little moments at first, you will begin to notice that life meets you differently because you are no longer meeting life as a beggar. So here's something practical. Ask yourself, what would I feel like right now if I knew without any crack of doubt that what I want is already secured at the deepest level? Not when the proof comes, not after the phone call, not after the bank balance changes, not after someone else confirms it. Right now, what would shift in my breath, in my face, in the speed of my thoughts, in the tone of my voice, in the way I move through this ordinary day? Sit with that. Do not race past it. Let your body answer before your mind tries to make a speech. Maybe your shoulders would drop, maybe your chest would open, maybe your pace would slow, maybe the need to explain yourself would fade, maybe your laughter would come easier, maybe you would stop refreshing, checking, pushing, asking, proving. Good. That is not fantasy. That is a doorway. Be that version now, quietly, naturally, without performance. Let that inner completion become the atmosphere around your life. Let it soften your reactions. Let it reshape your timing. Let it change the way you enter a room, answer a message, speak to your own reflection, make a plan, and go to sleep at night. This is not a small trick to add to your old identity. It is a shift in who you are being. And the person who knows it is done walks through the same world as the one who hopes, but they do not live in the same reality at all. You are not here to earn your good. That old idea has exhausted too many people for too long. Your desires are not trophies handed out after enough suffering. They are not prizes for those who stress the hardest. They are not rewards held back until some invisible judge finally decides you have done enough. The desires that return to your heart again and again often carry a message. They point toward a life that already exists as a real possibility for you. They rise because something in you recognizes them. Your work is not to invent them from nothing. Your work is to receive them inwardly without fighting their arrival. That receiving is not weak. It is one of the strongest things a person can do because it requires you to put down the addiction to struggle. It requires you to release the strange pride many people carry in being the one who always has to do everything the hard way. It asks you to become available to ease, and for some people ease feels harder than pain because pain is familiar. Stay with that thought. It explains a lot. Many do not fail because life forgot them. They fail because peace felt so unfamiliar that they kept returning to tension just to feel normal again. But normal can change. Identity can change. The inner climate can change. And when the inner climate changes, the outer weather starts to respond over time in ways that once looked impossible. So tonight, loosen your grip. Let the jaw soften. Let the chest open. Let the breath deepen. Stop trying to force your future into form with fear disguised as effort. Stop treating every delay as a verdict. Stop acting like life only responds to pressure. It does not. Often it responds fastest when the fight is over inside you. Accept the good without apology. Accept the desire without shame. Accept the unseen completion before the visible proof catches up. When doubt appears, do not build a house for it. Let it pass like weather. When fear speaks, do not hand it the microphone. Return to your quiet knowing, again and again if you must. Let your days become less about controlling outcomes and more about staying true to the state you have chosen within. Walk slower, speak cleaner, rest deeper. Take the next obvious step when it appears and leave the heavy lifting to the greater intelligence already moving through life in ways your mind cannot fully track. You do not have to strain to deserve what is already reaching for you. You do not have to prove worthiness for what your heart keeps calling forward. Open your hands, relax your mind, let life meet you where trust lives. What is meant for you does not need panic to find you. It needs room, it needs welcome, it needs the calm agreement of someone who has finally stopped fighting and quietly says, "Yes, I receive it now." And if you can hold that calm for longer than your old habits expect, something beautiful starts to happen in the ordinary parts of the day. Washing dishes feels different, driving feels different, waiting in line feels different. The same world is there, yet you are no longer squeezing every moment for proof. You begin to enjoy small things again. Your mind is not always in the next hour trying to solve what has not happened yet. Sleep gets deeper, conversations become cleaner, you stop oversharing from fear, you stop agreeing to things just because you feel empty, you stop chasing people who only answer when you are already walking away from yourself. This matters more than most realize. Inner completion does not only affect one desire, it starts to reshape your standards, your timing, your self-respect, your whole way of relating to life. You become less easy to pull into chaos, less willing to turn uncertainty into self-attack, more able to stand still without feeling abandoned. This is where real freedom begins, not when every single wish has shown up on command, but when your peace is no longer hostage to the current scene. And yes, the outer things matter, of course they do. But when your center stops shaking, you meet those outer things with a different force. You are no longer asking life to tell you who you are. You are bringing a steady inner answer to life and letting the world slowly organize around it. That is when your presence changes a room before your words even do. So if you take anything from this, let it be simple. Breathe. Receive. Stop interrupting what you have already chosen in the quiet place within. Let your desire become less of a chase and more of a settled fact in your inner life. When you drift, come back. When the world gets loud, come back. When time feels slow, come back. Not harshly, not dramatically, just come back. Keep returning until peace feels more normal than panic. Keep returning until trust feels more natural than tension. Keep returning until the version of you that knows becomes more familiar than the version of you that begs. This is how the whole thing changes. Not in one giant performance, but in many small sacred returns. One calm breath, one released shoulder, one moment of refusing to turn fear into truth. One quiet decision to let the unseen be enough for now. If you can live this way even imperfectly, even while still growing, You will discover that life begins to move with more grace than force ever gave you. And one day you will look back and realize the moment things truly started changing was not the day the proof arrived. It was the day you stopped wrestling with the absence of it. It was the day you finally rested. It was the day you let yourself believe that what is real in the deeper place can arrive without your panic pushing it forward. And from there, everything begins to open.